All right, over the next few minutes, we're going to break down a framework that helps you produce truly meaningful work, especially in a world that feels like it's constantly fighting for your attention.
I mean, you know the feeling, right? Your day is just this blur of alerts, pings, constantly switching from one thing to another. You feel busy, you're always busy. But when you clock out, you're left wondering, what did I actually get done today?
And that constant state of just reacting to things, that's not the road to success. In fact, it's pretty much the exact opposite. It's the fast track to just average, forgettable work.
So that really is the million-dollar question, isn't it? How do you not just survive, but actually thrive when it feels like everything is trying to grab a piece of your attention? Well, the answer lies in a really powerful framework for deep thinking. Okay, first things first, let's really diagnose the problem here. We're living in what you could call a modern attention crisis. And, really understanding what that is, that's the first step to actually beating it.
Just think about it in basic economic terms, right? Supply and demand. The supply of genuine, focused, deep attention is plummeting. And what happens when supply goes down? Its value absolutely skyrockets. What that means for you is that the few people who can actually master this rare skill, well, they're the ones who are going to win. So how do you become one of those people? Well, it comes down to developing two core skills. Think of them as your two mental superpowers. That, when they work together, can just cut right through all that noise. And the first superpower is really just understanding this key distinction. So on one side, you've got deep work. That's the intense, focused stuff that actually creates value. And on the other side, shallow work. The logistical, repetitive, low-value tasks you do while you're half distracted. The tough part is, most of us spend our days completely trapped on that shallow side. Now, let's be super clear here. Deep work isn't just focusing. It's about pushing your brain to its absolute limit. And this is key, in a state of zero distraction. That's the zone. That's where you create work that's hard for anyone else to do, work that creates brand new value. Okay, your second superpower, critical thinking. So if deep work is about the state of your focus, then critical thinking is all about the quality of your thoughts while you're in that state. It's really a disciplined way of making sense of all the information coming at you so you can land on a solid conclusion. All right, so we've got our two superpowers. Now what? Well, let's combine them. Let's put them into a single actionable process, a real framework for deep critical thinking.
And the path forward is actually a pretty simple, repeatable loop. It's define, focus, analyze, and then execute. Let's break down exactly what each of those steps looks like. So, step one is all about getting crystal clear. Before you even think about diving deep, you have to know what you're diving for. What is that one single most important goal? And this is a big one. What are your biases coming into this? You have to acknowledge them because that's the only way you're ever going to get past them. Step two is all about protecting your time, and you do that with a specific strategy. Now, Cal Newport talks about four main styles. There's the monastic approach, for people who can totally isolate themselves. Bimodal, where you split your week into deep days and shallow days. Rhythmic, which is all about making deep work a regular daily habit. And finally, journalistic, for people who kind of have to grab those moments of focus whenever they can. Look, the key isn't which one you pick. The key is that you deliberately choose one and actually schedule it. Okay, now you're in that focus state. It's go time. This is where the critical thinking kicks in. Don't just take the first piece of info you find and run with it. No. Gather data from a bunch of different sources. You've got to actively look for points of view that challenge what you already think. Question everything. Ask yourself, is this reliable? How important is this, really? And finally, step 4, you act. You come to a logical conclusion and you execute a solution. But hey, it doesn't stop there. This is super important. You need a feedback loop. Keep a scoreboard, literally. Track how many deep work hours you're logging. And after you're done, reflect on how it went. What worked? What didn't? This is what makes your process better and better every single time you do it. Now, this whole framework is incredibly powerful. But just like any muscle, your brain needs training to get good at this. So the question is, how do you actually work out your mind? Here's a really simple mental workout you can do literally anytime. Practice separating provable facts from subjective opinions. Just grab any article, any report, whatever, and for each sentence, just ask yourself, okay, is this a fact I can prove, or is this just someone's opinion? It's seriously like a bicep curl for your analytical muscles. And then, you can level up to more complex stuff. Take this scenario here.
It forces you to go way beyond simple analysis and start thinking about ethics, about competing principles. And there's no easy answer, right? The whole point isn't to find the one right answer. The point is to practice the process of weighing different values and being able to defend your conclusion with solid reasoning.
So, here's the thing. Learning to think this deeply, it isn't just some productivity hack. It's not just a career booster. It's way more fundamental than that. Yeah, getting more stuff done is a great side effect, for sure. But believe it or not, that's not the ultimate goal here. What this is really about is reclaiming your attention from all the things out there trying to steal it, so that you can direct it toward what actually matters to you. It's about producing work that you're genuinely proud of and building a life that has a purpose, instead of just a life of constant reaction. So, I'll leave you with this one question to think about. If you could really consistently apply this level of deep critical thinking, completely free from distraction, what's that one wildly important goal in your life that you could finally, truly achieve?